everybody, Sonia Rollins with Back Talk. I am excited to bring you a foodie segment from Twist Bakery Cafe on 3rd Ave in Burlington. We're going to go inside and check out a great location that offers so many different things for both people with allergies and, quite frankly, for people without. Come on inside and let's see what we have. All right, Catherine, if you will introduce yourself for everybody who's watching.
Sure. My name is Catherine Ernst. I am the owner of Twist Bakery Cafe along with my husband, Philip.
Okay, great. And you are located on 3rd Ave in Burlington. How long have you been here?
Well, we've been here about a year and a half. So during COVID, we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. Right. So we're here.
Yeah, and speaking of COVID, I mean, clearly we would normally be sitting a little closer together. We're en masse, so I'm going to keep you a little bit distant, but we've all been kind of working hard to keep restaurants going. How has it been for you in the past year? It's been a little challenging, I'm sure.
For sure been very challenging. So we have the 2 locations. We have one here in Burlington, and then we also have one in Millis. And so we've been thankful. We've kept them both open for the majority of the time. We did have some closures during either needed times or when we had to kind of regroup and say what's next on the agenda. Generally speaking, we've stayed open the entire time. Yeah. So that's been we've been very thankful for that.
Absolutely. And speaking of thankful, I am certain people with allergies have become very thankful to fall upon Twist. I have shared with you before, I'll share with the audience too, that, I haven't had gluten in a few years. And when you are a person who has a sensitivity or an allergy, it really becomes incumbent to kind of find some things that you can eat. And a lot of places have been helpful with that, but Twist is really unique that way. So talk about the fact that Twist is completely gluten-free as well as other allergens.
Really, bread was the first thing I tried, right? And so I tried that and said, I think I have something that can work on others. And I took that same flour recipe and I kind of adjusted it to some of my other family recipes and then kind of said at some point, I think we have something we can share with other people. Let's try a business. So we did that in 2011. And so we have always lived it. It's not just, this is a business. This is just really our life. So when I cooked and baked, I always addressed everybody's allergies. It wasn't just my own. And so we started out literally not having any dairy in it because we already had that issue. We already had stuff that didn't have soy and we didn't have any nuts. We had no peanuts. But we did open with as offering nuts, but we got rid of those within the first year. So we automatically just bring everything into our bakehouse in Millis that already meets all those allergens. So we still do dairy for people who want cheese on their sandwiches, but literally everything that's built on that sandwich, everything is dairy free. You really are only getting dairy on top of that. Right. So we address all top 9 allergies. Our 9th allergen is sesame. So we also are sesame free. So we address all those things because not only were they important to us, but we knew that they were important to other guests as well. Because most people who have a gluten allergy, they already are going to be suffering from some other allergy that goes along with it.
Right, so, and they kind of learn along in the process.
They learn along in the process. They realize, that doesn't agree with me either. So, we're trying to address all that. But we were really adamant about making sure not only addressed those allergens, but created a place where people wanted to come. Not just, I can eat there because I'm allergen free. It's really, the flavor has always been first. That's our philosophy, that flavor is first. And while we're a boutique bakery and we provide a lot of great food that happens to be, American based, some a little French based, whatever we're putting out there, we always talk about flavor first, and then we also just so happen to address the allergens.
All right, so now let's talk about the good stuff. So you have savory, you serve breakfast, you serve lunch, you have desserts, cakes, right? So it's all in. And I will say that there is a list when you come into Twist. It's color-coded for people to see, so they already know if certain things are outside of gluten-free, because that's a given, correct? But then there's certain things that are dairy-free, certain things that are nut-free, and so on and so on.
Well, actually, the nut-free, we are a nut-free facility.
Completely nut-free.
We're completely peanut-free, completely nut-free. We're completely soy-free, except for there are some exceptions. So the issue is like with nuts, we do have coconut in the facility. We use coconut milk and coconut, and those are classified as nuts, but from an allergen standpoint, typically those are a separate allergen to a traditional, cashew allergy. We don't have any peanuts in the facility. And then with regard to soy, we don't have any soy, no milk. We've even taken that off of our list of what we were offering for coffee, no more soy milk. So the only soy that comes in here is something called soy lecithin that the manufacturers use as an emulsifier for their chocolates and some things like that. We take all that stuff out of there. Most of our baking is done without dairy, except for if you have a cheesecake. Sure. We make a cheesecake with dairy. But all of the cooking that we do here, we do all the baking and all of the big batch stuff that we do that we can share between the locations are done in Millis in our bakehouse there. Here in the facility, they make all of your fresh food to order. So they're roasting off their red peppers, they're roasting their tomatoes, they're making, their pancake mixes are made here, from our recipe. So there's a lot of things that they're doing here that on the savory line that provides you a great fresh experience. It's the baking things that are all done under a controlled environment, literally in our bakehouse.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that you think are consumer favorites at Twist.
Wow. Yeah. It's hard because it either doesn't, if it's not a favorite, it's not here. Put it that way. So
okay, that's a good way
really
to say it, right. But the whoopie pies, for example.
Whoopie pies are a big favorite. The chocolate ones are the ones that we started with. We have a couple of other options now that we've kind of expanded that line. So we have a vegan one. They're delicious. We also have another one that we're doing right now that's funfetti. So that's a vanilla based. So we're trying to kind of
everybody
expand
loves funfetti a little bit. Yeah.
Funfetti is a great, everybody loves it.
We pretend like it's a kid's thing, but be honest. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Sprinkles make everybody happy.
That's right.
And I will say the one thing different about our sprinkles is that, we do have a philosophy of not bringing in any artificial ingredients, including artificial coloring. So the sprinkles you see here, any of the coloring you might see on any of the on any of the things that we make are all natural. They're all based on food. So our sprinkles don't have any kind of chemical coloring on it. It's all based on food based. So, yeah.
So it's good and healthy.
Good and healthy, yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
What about others? How about twisty cakes?
Twisty cakes are a customer favorite because they're based on the Hostess cupcake. We just elevated it a little bit. We make our own marshmallow filling on the inside. We dip it in a really good dark chocolate ganache, and then we put that little swirl on top, signature swirl, and we'll change that up for the holidays. So, boo for Halloween, or love you on Valentine's Day, mom for Mother's Day. So we try and keep those things relevant.
We had talked a little bit before we started on, the advent of, or the bringing on of COVID brought on some things like you have some things on the case behind you that are make cake mixes, for example, and things like that, which we all say we're learning a little something from COVID, right? So do you think that's something you're going to keep on going with and talk about it a bit, that cake mix that you're supplying?
So I think that sometimes, I never want to take away the joy of baking. I never want to take away the joy of cooking. I think it's a tremendous bonding experience you have with your children. I think it's just joyful. Yes. Like, you can provide some love to someone, and it's not just coming here and picking something up. And I'm happy to provide the stuff that we just pick up and go, but there has to be a little bit of joy involved in your own cooking, and not everybody can take flour and make a cake mix and make it from scratch, and I get that. So, we try to provide something that was easy, not only to allow you the opportunity to make something if that's what you choose, give you a chance to find something to do with your kids, and then you can customize it for whatever your favorite flavors are that we may not be selling today, so there's an option for you. They've been selling pretty good even since COVID. We just introduced them in COVID, but it seems to be going pretty well with those, so people seem to like them a lot.
Yeah, and again, I want to say this, and again, we're coming out of COVID. You and I are not masked inside because obviously we're doing this interview, but your entire team is, and the cleanliness around them and everything for those who are, of course, everybody should still be COVID conscious, but for those who are elevated in that consciousness, everything in here is taken care of. If you were to really talk about the vision of Twist, you told us why you brought Twist upon. How do you see it evolving? Is there something else you see coming for you in Twist, or do you envision yourself? You now have 2 locations, and do you envision yourself adding anything else or seeing something? If you wanted to give somebody a message about Twist in general, what would that message be?
The message I want to get across is that it's a great. The flavor first is the biggest part of what we do, and it's always giving the guest something more than they expected. We want to provide a really great place for you to come and to be a neighborhood, whether we're in Millis, whether we're in Burlington, or any other place that we may grow. We want to be part of that community because I think that we love to be able to bring joy and to be able to spread that around with our food that happens to also address the allergen stuff. I think it's great for you as a consumer. For example, let's say you're the only person in your family that has allergies. Well, it's tough for you to go out to eat and enjoy that, right? So we want to bring that joy back to your family. You can all come here and enjoy it, and no one's feeling left out. You're bringing that family group back together again over a meal, which, you know, how wonderful is that?
It's
so
pretty wonderful.
That's what we
yeah.
want to be able to provide.
Right,
It's
it
really
takes the
just-
pressure off.
Oh,
for
it
lack of a
takes the
better
pressure
word.
off. Yes.
Absolutely, because
Yes.
you can come in and just know what you're ordering, which
Right,
is
and
great.
you don't even have to worry.
Yeah. So, Catherine, do you find that there are some people who come in here that don't even realize that this is a, you know, a boutique bakery that offers specific needs for allergens? Like, is the average consumer who has no allergies, do you find they come in here as often?
Yes, I do find they come in here as often. They like our fresh, house-made products. They really like it. It happens to be allergen friendly. That's really the answer. It is a boutique bakery that happens to be allergen friendly, but for anyone who loves to come into a bakery, anybody who loves really good fresh food, that's what we provide, and it just happens to be allergen friendly.
Correct, because it's not something that, it's not like labeled like that outside. So really people are coming in because honestly, it looks fantastic and then it tastes fantastic too.